Everybody. Thank you for joining us. My name is Fabio Jaime, and I will be leading today's Culture Success webinar series. And to give you a little bit of background about myself, I recently graduated from Aspen College, where I studied strategic management. I am now working consulting in San Francisco. That actually was part of the Mentoring for Success program during my undergraduate years with the person, and that really helped me and excel in a variety of areas that I really envisioned about when I was in high school. And so I started reflecting on my college experience a couple months ago as I was ready to graduate, and I thought that watching a webinar series where we could help other first-generation college students learn a lot about resources and programming events around the country or around their campus that really will help one excel either professionally or personally. That's something that we felt would be very impactful, and so that's why we're really excited to be launching this series. I actually have been involved with Person to Person since I was a lot younger. I used to be part of the campership program when I was in middle school and elementary school, so I definitely think that organization has done a lot for Southwestern Connecticut, and I'm excited to see what other initiatives it has in the coming years. So we'll get started. So this month's session, we really wanted to talk about extracurricular activities as students head on campus for the first time for orientation for their first weeks there. And I felt that when I did Babson, that's where I went to school, there was a lot going on, and there was a lot that I could be involved in, but I didn't really know where to start since there was so much to do. But I really would first want to focus on why extracurricular activities are important. So if you talk to employers, a lot of them will say that they really want people who are involved outside of the classroom, so not just students who do very well academically, but also students who give back to the community, either through community service, through clubs, organizations, or sports or other affiliations. And really why they want it is because there's a variety of areas that you're able to develop in that you don't necessarily fully in within the classroom. So for example, extracurricular activities can provide you with professional skills. So being a leader within a college club really makes you into a leader. You usually have to delegate and manage a lot of different resources, communications between a variety of stakeholders within your own membership as well as outside of your membership. Then the debate club really enhances public speaking, mentoring, illustrates teaching skills, so anything like tutoring. Really all those skills are important as you progress within the corporate ladder, really wherever you go. And so those are like fundamental skills that employers look for in entry-level candidates, and those are really skills that you're able to develop in very early on if you get involved on campus. In addition to that, time management is very important. So for example, if you're more involved on campus, that means that you usually have to be able to calendar and to really set different times of day that you're doing different things in order to make it all work. So that really usually leads to a lot more productivity and also prioritization, which is also huge in the business world and in really in career path, being able to say like, okay, I'm going to do this task first versus another task, and here's why. In addition to that, it really also helps you widen your social circle. There's a lot of people that you meet through being involved on campus, and so for me, for example, when I got involved very quickly at Babson, and so I was able to meet a lot of upperclassmen, and some of them I've become very close friends with, and they've really helped me in a variety of ways, especially professionally. And I don't think I would have met those people had I not become involved as early as I did. In addition to that, it connects So those people really connect you to a variety of resources, whether they be on campus or off campus. So some of the people that I met really told me a lot about different career paths and areas that I just had never really knew that much about as a first-generation college student. So that was really beneficial for me to develop those relationships. And lastly, as you may know, a lot of big companies in general tend to give back to their community through volunteerism. So whether it be like going back to a middle school and like helping students learn how to code, or they go to like a shelter and give people food, or et cetera. There's like a variety of ways that companies like to give. And so if you're volunteering during your time in college, it really helps them think that you might want to do this later on when you join their companies, and that's very important for them. Lastly, and I think one of the most important things about being involved is that you don't really know what you don't know. So it's helpful to become involved on campus, because then you get to know like what you like and what you don't like, and it's really important to know what you don't like just as much as it is to know what you like, because you can rule that out and say like, okay, I don't have to do that later on, or I don't, or that just might help you see which areas you like better, and then like you can focus on those areas more so going forward. And this also, I found this chart very important. So it's essentially the GPA or extracurricular is more important to employers. And so here, as you can see, that employers rank English as the most important thing when selecting a job candidate and to give them an offer. Then they set employment during college, so that whether that be a part-time job or a internship. They said college major, so you see there's a very, it's almost as important as like having an internship, what you actually major in. So some people tend to think like, oh, hey, I'm not a finance major, I can't work for like a bank, or I can't work for a finance firm. Usually that's not the case. I've met a lot of people in that industry that didn't study anywhere near finance, right? So whether they studied STEM or English, or any other field, and they ended up being very successful in that career. They look for people with volunteer experience and extracurricular activities. And then something that I think is, I just didn't know this when I was younger. Like, for example, I would have thought that they looked more for a high college GPA or like the reputation of a school, as that's what it seems like, as it was like the media tends to portray sometimes. But as you can see, those are like ranked way lower, and this is a survey where hundreds of companies were polled. And then they asked them what top 10 skills they seek in entry-level candidates. So as you can see, I'm going to read through these, but we'll send this out so you're able to see this as well. But as you can see, a lot of these skills are developed through being involved on campus and extracurricular activities. For example, the ability to work in a team structure, the ability to make decisions quickly and solve problems, communicate verbally with people inside and outside an organization. Those are all very important skills that employers look for, that they want in their job candidates, and those are easily developed through being involved on campus. Something that's equally important to know is that it's quality over quantity. So a lot of times I kind of fell into this trap too, when things that one has to be involved in like 10 different clubs on campus instead of being involved on 2, because it just looks better when you put it on your resume, but that's not really the case. If you're involved in 10 clubs on campus, you usually are just going to be able to be a member for them and not be able to hold a leadership position for most of those roles, since that would be too much for you to handle, or for anyone to handle. And so usually employers prefer that you be involved in only the clubs or only the extracurricular activities that you really are deeply passionate about, and that there's a reason for you to be there. So there's a purpose. So, I think like an optimal number is probably being involved in like 2, maximum 3 different extracurricular activities on campus, and that way you can be able to hold a leader position in one or two of them, and I think that's really where you learn a lot more from, and where you just get a lot more out of the experience versus being involved in too many extracurricular activities is also not good. And so as you can see, there's a variety of ways that you can be involved, whether it's athletics, group play, professional clubs, cultural, ethnic clubs, student government is also very, very big, work studies, part-time jobs, depending on what you study, you could do a lab or research assistant, you could volunteer, you could work for admissions office. I know admissions offices across but it's really rely heavily on current students to either show prospective students around the campus, talk to them more about their experiences there. So they definitely need support from current students to be successful. Also, a very big one that a lot of students tend to be involved with is being a resident assistant on campus. So how do you get involved? So it seems that this would be beneficial for you, and like how to go about doing this once you get on campus. So most colleges, I think probably like 98% of colleges will have an organization fair within the first month on campus. So usually this is like right after orientation and when all the students get there. And usually it's organization representative is at a booth, and you get to talk with him or her about their club, what they do, and really ask any questions that you have. Usually this is a person that's a leader within the club, so they know a lot about it, and they want to grow their membership base, so they're definitely willing to answer any and all of your questions. In addition to that, I think pretty much every college has a student activities and leadership team. And so that's called in a variety of different ways. It might just be called student activities. It might be called extracurricular activities. But that specific team usually is the one that handles how many clubs there are on campus and provides them with funding and a variety of resources. And so if you aren't able to go to the org fair for whatever reason, you can connect to that office with that team, and they usually can provide you with contacts from each of those organizations, or they can probably just refer you to the website where usually those contacts are listed as well. In addition to that, it is an area that I think that's growing heavily around the college campuses, especially for undergrads, also for other degrees, is if you think that there's an organization missing on campus, usually you're able to start a chapter of your own. And so during my time in college, there definitely was new organizations that began on campus based on student interest. So usually depending, like your school will have rules, but let's say some schools might be like, okay, you need to have at least like 10 members, and then we will give you this amount of funding. I've also seen national chapters either for professional fraternities or just professional organizations, as well as Greek coming to campuses. So usually that's I think that's handled through those national chapters that really help students develop their own chapters internally. But then you would also work with your specific campus to help that come to life. You can either, if there's something on campus that you really want to be part of, you can through a variety of ways. But if there's something that you think is missing, that you really would want to see on your campus that maybe you had in high school, maybe you think would be a good idea and that a lot of students would be interested in, usually there's a way for you to be able to launch that. And so that is all. I'll now take questions.